Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode on Discover's Red and Blue podcast. Today I'm joined by Jacob and Ben to look ahead to our game on Monday night against Europe chasing Nottingham Forest. So yeah, Jacob, give us an overview of Nottingham Forest season and how well they're doing this season.
Yeah, they're doing very, very well this season. It's obvious that Nuno's done a very good job with them because both people had them to be tipped to go down back to the Championship, but he's done completely the opposite and he's challenging for the European places, whether that's Europa League or the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Ben? Anything to add to that?
Nah, not really. Yeah, they've just been a very good team this season, and I think they'll 100% get Europe. It's pretty much a guarantee, and
Yeah,
just depends what happens for the rest of the season, which one they get.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Obviously, they'll be wanting to get Champions League, but
yeah.
Europa League might be low there. But who do you think are Forest's most threatening players this season, Jacob? What do you think about that?
Their players,
Yeah, they're
they've
players.
been, yeah, they've been brilliant. Like the likes of Elanga and Hudson Doy with their pace on the wings, and then you got Chris Wood who's doing what he does best, just scoring the goals.
Yeah. How about you, Ben? What do you think? Most threatening players?
Yeah, similar sort of thing. Chris Wood, obviously 19 goals, playing probably the season of his career so far. Elanga, Gibbs White, and Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, their attack in general, I think, is very, very good. So yeah, they're definitely the players we need to look out for.
Yeah, obviously a lot of pace. You got Nico Williams, Olina, obviously helping Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. Obviously very attacking. So obviously our defence just needs to be rock solid yet again for this game. Forest have lost 4 of the last 5. Do you think this game is crucial, keeping them in the Champions League spaces? What do you think, Jacob? What do you think about that?
I think any sort of European qualification would be good from this season. I don't think they solely have to really focus on the Champions League. Obviously, that's like the best they want to get, but I think they'd still be happy if they qualified for the Europa League in that sixth place spot.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, do you think the same? Because obviously, considering where they were last season, near the relegation zone, do you think they would take Europa League this season?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean they weren't great last season. Obviously, they've played really well this season. So I think they definitely deserve a European spot. So whether that's Champions League or Europa League, obviously they could take either. I think they deserve either, or it's just a case of what they get in the end.
Yeah. And obviously, do you think they have fallen off in recent weeks, Jacob, or do you think that's just a little phase they're going through at the moment?
I think it's just tiredness, really. Like they've been playing so intense the whole season, and it's coming towards the end of the season. They're just getting tired.
Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, similar sort of thing. It's just towards the end of the season, they're getting shattered. They're just tired from a game, like game after game. Obviously, they played last Sunday against City. They played Thursday night, and then they're playing us on Monday. So, and obviously, our last game was last Saturday, so they've had an extra game in between to.
Yeah, and obviously Nuno doesn't like rotating much, so it doesn't help. But yeah, that is their best team, but obviously they have to play the best team if they want them European spaces. But moving on to us, do you think we can take? Obviously, we will, but positives, feelings going into this game on Monday. Obviously, coming off the back of semi-final result at Wembley. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I definitely think we have a slight advantage in terms of we're ready for this game because we're coming off the back of a win. They're coming off the back of 2 losses, one in the semi-final, one against midweek in Brentford, or against Brentford. So I think we've definitely got the advantage in that sense. I just hope we can sort of capitalise on their tiredness, like you said. Nuno doesn't like to rotate the players, so I hope we can just go for it this game.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I think pretty much the same as Ben. Like they'll be a bit, what's the word for it? Like angered off the back of 2 losses, whilst we're like giving everything at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Going on to Oliver Glasner then, his press conference. You can see this on my account. The main quote was, "The players looked very sharp, very focused, with great intensity and quality in the training sessions." And then he also said, "I think to have the biggest chance to win it, we need to play our strongest side on again." Jacob, what do you think about that? Do you think it's good, showing that he's got to pick his best team to make sure we win the game and do well in the league still?
Yeah, he it's obviously wants to win every game he plays in, so he's gonna play the strongest team that he has in every single one.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Ben? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's definitely, obviously every manager wants to win every game, but it's just he wants to, I think, especially win, like, because we finished the season last. Oh my god, we finished last season so strongly. He wants to sort of replicate that, get higher up. Obviously, we win the cup, amazing. So it just depends on how the rest of our season goes. But yeah, I think he'll, same team or similar team, because they all played really well on Saturday. And yeah, we'll just see what happens, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jacob, what do you think this says about his mentality? Obviously, still wants to do well in the league, as well as, these 2 games are going to be really crucial going up to that final. So do you think it just shows that he wants to do well in every football game that we play and make sure we can do our best to win it?
Yeah, that's what he said when he first joined the club. He wants to win every single game. He wants to score as many goals as he can. He wants to concede as little as he can.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. What do you think, Ben, on that?
Yeah, similar sort of thing to Jacob. To be honest, not really much else to add. So
Yeah. Um, and then obviously I had to add this one in. Do you think Daichi Kamada should start against Forest, considering his impressive performance at the weekend? What do you think, Jacob? What do you think?
I think, I don't know, it's weird because obviously Hughes hasn't played for a while, so I'd like to see him play again, but I think Kamada still might deserve it still. So
Yeah, we'll see.
it's a bit of a tricky decision.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think Kamada should start over Hughes, or do you think it should be Hughes over Kamada?
see, I'm stuck. I think they both definitely deserve it. They've both had. Well, Hughes has had a very good season, considering he's been playing our midfield most of it. Kamada, he's played right. He's played well the last couple games. Don't get me wrong. So I think he will start over Hughes. But I also think it's a case of, do we rest him more for the final and play Hughes? Because obviously I think Kamada will start in the final because he played really well against Villa. I just yeah, I actually just don't know, to be honest. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a tricky one. Like I think I wouldn't be surprised if he does play Hughes against Forest because it's going to be really physical. Like if you Kamada, he's not as physical as Hughes, so maybe could Hughes. What do you think, Jacob? Do you think because of the physicality, they are quite a physical side?
Yeah,
Have a lot of pace.
I didn't really think about that. It's one of those
Mm,
games where you're going to want to win that midfield physically.
yeah,
So it probably will be Hughes thinking of it now.
yeah, yeah. What do you think, Ben? Do you think now, considering they are a physical side, do you think it could be Hughes?
Yeah, I mean, if you take that into account, yes, I definitely think he could start. But
Mm,
it just so obviously it's Glasner's choice. He's like, I pick who's done best in training. So we'll just have
mm,
to move and wait until Monday to see.
yeah, definitely. Going on to score predictions. What do you think, Jacob? Score?
I'm going to go with a 2-0 win.
Yeah. How about you, Ben? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with 2-1 Palace or 1-1.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it'll
gonna
be a
go
close
2-1.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1. Predicted lineup. Ben, what do you think the predicted lineup will be?
Hendo,
Lineup will be.
Hendo in goal. Obviously, Gahey left centre back, Lacroix middle, Richards on the right, Munoz. I could see him starting Chilwell, to be honest. I hope he does, but obviously, it's his choice, so it happens. But I'd like to see Chilwell start, Hughes, Wharton in the middle, and then Eze Mateta up front.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob?
Same as what Ben said.
I think it will be unchanged from City. I think he'll pick Daichi because of how well he did in the semi-final. So, but yeah, we'll see. Just to wrap up the episode, then, just gonna go through some transfer talk, if you want to call it that. Tottenham, Chelsea, and Newcastle remain all keen on signing Mark Gay from Crystal Palace, as he's been on their list for months. There's also possibility Gay goes on a free transfer in 2026 if a deal can't be agreed this summer, and that's from Fabrizio Romano. I think this was last week. Yeah, Jacob, what do you think about that?
It's difficult. If we win the FA Cup, I reckon he'll renew his contract because it's obviously he only wants to leave us for the European football. And with winning the FA Cup, he will get European football with us. But if we don't win the FA Cup, I think selling him is the right option. He is a good player, but he is replaceable as well.
Yeah, definitely. Ben, do you think it's inevitable that Mark will leave this summer, or do you think he could stay if we win the FA Cup? And obviously, that comes with European football.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I definitely think, we win the FA Cup. It's a good starting point to your European career because obviously he's definitely capable of playing Champions League football. Like, don't get me wrong, amazing player, but I think it might be a good idea if we get Europa League from winning the cup. He stays with us for that season, and even if he goes on a free, I don't mind. I'd rather he goes for money. But worst comes to worst, we potentially get Europe, potentially win the Europa League, which who knows what's going to happen. But I honestly,
Champions League football.
Yeah, honestly, I'd love us to play Champions League. It'd be amazing. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. To be honest, I hope he stays.
Yeah. And I was also thinking, like, if we do win the FA Cup, obviously him being captain, would he want to stay? Because he would captain the side, Europa League football in a side that doesn't usually go there. Do you think he wants to play his best time as being a best player? What do you think about that, Jacob?
Yeah, I think he already seems happy here anyway. So I think captaining the side in European football, especially as it's a side located where he so closely grew up as a child, I don't really I don't really see him leaving to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, do you think the same, or do you think this should be a discussion of when or if we win the FA Cup?
Yeah, I think as he's captain, he'd obviously love to captain a European side, and obviously if he moves to whoever you said, what was it, Chelsea, Newcastle, Spurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he moves to one of them, obviously they've all got their captains already. So, and well, I don't even think he'll go to Spurs because Spurs are sat in like 16th at the moment. So
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever go there. But
No.
it just depends on what he decides to do, whether he wants to captain a Europe side or play higher Europe team, higher Europe
Yeah.
team, higher Europe. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's obviously, he obviously has. I think he does have the 20% sell-on clause. Well, Chelsea have the 20% sell-on clause, so I can't see him going Chelsea.
No.
Like, there's no way that we get 40 million for him. That's not gonna happen. So I think that if
No, there'd
the
be
right,
money laundering scene.
yeah, I think if the right offer comes from Newcastle, I think this time we will accept it this time. But obviously, we'll have to see. And then obviously moving on to the Sun, which is obviously not as good a source, but Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner has given his blessing to the sales of both Mark Gay and Eberechi Eze this summer to fund the overhaul of the squad. He is certain to leave as he just has 12 months left on his contract with former club Chelsea and Newcastle ready to bid. Yeah, Ben, what do you think about that? Do you think it's just, obviously it's a Sun, obviously saying is given the blessing, a bit over the top, but
Yeah.
what do you think?
I get, yeah, I agree with maybe, there are teams wanting him, but the Sun is probably one of, if not arguably the worst source out there for transfers. It's not great. They do come up with a bunch of BS, but if it turns out to be true, then I'll regret saying that. But I don't take it. I don't believe it.
Do you think it's just because we're in the FA Cup final and this is what they're just writing because they have nothing else to talk about?
Yeah, I think probably wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think the same. What do you think, Jacob?
But it depends who from the Sun has actually written it though. Who's it? Is it Ed Aarons or Alan Nixon that works for the Sun?
It just said the Sun. It just said Sun football.
Because whoever those two work for the Sun, if they wrote it, then there could be an ounce of potential truth in there because both of them are quite good for us, and I know one of them does work for the Sun.
Yeah, I don't know because it said the article just said the Sun football, and I actually didn't see the author of it, so it might have been, but I don't know. So yeah.
But I don't know if you were to tell me, I don't know, like between 2 and 4 months ago that Glasner is willing to offload Eze in the summer, I wouldn't be mad. But because of how well he's turned his season around, I just sort of think there's not really that many players, like even across the whole of Europe, that can do what he does best to replace him. It's going to be hard because I honestly believe like his technical skill is up there with like one of the best in Europe. You can barely ever lose the ball when he's like going at it. Whereas Gahey, on the other hand, he is a good defender, but he is replaceable. I'd be much more happy to lose Gahey than Eze, than I would lose Eze and keep Gahey.
Yeah, interesting. But do you think, obviously, Eze and Mark, do you think this could be a summer where we do lose two of our main players? What do you think, Ben?
I definitely think it's possible that we lose both of them. I think Gahey is more likely to go than Eze because I haven't seen anything that Eze's had any rumours around him. I've seen nothing about him, so I hope that stays as it is because I do want him to stay. He might, for all I know, he might turn into the next Zaha. He stays at the club for ages and ages, and then eventually goes off if we haven't got Champions League and wants to go and play Champions League football. So.
Yeah, I've always said that. I've always said that he'll be the next Zaha, but we'll obviously see. What do you think, Jacob?
I don't know. I think pretty much what Paris said like last season with when Gahey and Anderson were both linked to leaving the team. He said that only one of them will leave, and that did end up being Anderson. So I think this season it'll be similar between Gahey and Eze, where he'll probably want only one to leave. But if it's a weird window because Gahey turns 25 before the season starts, so he's just getting into his prime years. Eze turns 27 in June, so he's already in his prime years. So I think for Eze, it's either he leaves this window, or he will just stay with us for the rest of his career, probably.
Yeah.
And then
And
with Gahey, it's more likely he'll just leave and go do stuff at other clubs.
yeah. And obviously, if Eze, did or will go, or if he chooses to go, do you think he will go to a club in the Premier League, Jake? Do you think that he'll go somewhere else?
He strikes me as a player that doesn't. He'll go to like the Liga side, or I don't know, Bundesliga side, Italian side. I don't think he'll stay in the Premier League. I remember seeing that. I think a couple of weeks back that both Bayern and Barcelona were interested in him. So obviously, with Elise being at Bayern, you could be attracted to joining him there because they're
Mhm.
best mates with each other. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And just to round off the show, I've been asked to share this. 3 Palace Stars, 1 quiz, and then £370 up for grabs. Dean Henderson, Adam Wharton, and Romain Esse took on the My Guava quiz challenge and secured a cash prize for one lucky fan. To enter, you have to download the app and create an account, order a free My Guava Crystal Palace reward card, and complete the entry form linked in the bio. And obviously the videos in the bio. If you want a chance to win and you're listening, just head over to my Instagram page and the post will be there with my Guava collaborated post. And that's that. Thank you everyone for listening, and until next time, up Palace.